So it's not very difficult to get started as a freelance writer. But if you want to be successful at it, there's a few things that I think you should be aware of. I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary, and today I'm going over my top 10 list of the things you need to be successful as a freelance writer. Now this list is something that I comprised over the years since I started writing in 2012. And a lot of it I wish I knew back then when I first started. For one thing, it would have made my life a hell of a lot easier. Now this list is not in any particular order, so you can do them how you see fit. But before we get started, don't forget the like and subscribe buttons. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always hit me up on social media, on Twitter and Facebook, or use the contact form on WriterSanctuary.com. Okay, so the first thing you need to be a successful freelance writer is to have a comfortable place to work. Now when I first started, I had a $20 Walmart chair that played hell on my back and legs. And after a few months, I decided that a $100 upgrade was worth the investment. But with any luck, you're going to be sitting for quite an extensive amount of time. That is, unless you decide to use a standing desk. But in either case, you need to be comfortable where you're working, because if you're not, the stress of your body is going to interfere with your ability to work. So yeah, something like back pain is definitely going to impact your ability to write. And you can also include knowing a good time frame to write as part of your comfort level. When I first started, I was writing at night, and I found that once I switched to a morning writing routine, that I had far fewer revision requests from TextBroker. I just seemed to be more on the ball first thing in the morning. Now, you might be different. There's a lot of people out there that can write perfectly at night. I was not one of them. So you got to make sure that you're comfortable in your surroundings and with the time frame that you give yourself to write. The second thing you need to do is limit your distractions. This is kind of hard when you have a house full of kids and animals that just won't leave you alone. But it's not just the family that can be a distraction either. I mean, you got things like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or even Netflix that will take away your time. Because as a freelance writer, the odds of you actually getting an hourly wage are very rare. In essence, you're paid for production, so every word you write is when you're getting paid for. If you're not spending your time writing, you're not getting paid. So you need to limit your distractions as best you can. Now the next thing you need is a basic laptop or a computer. And it doesn't need to be anything fancy to start off with. Like when I started with TextBroker, I had a very old computer that I was able to write, and that's all it was a word processor. That's all I needed. And nowadays I need something with a little bit more oomph behind it because I'm using Photoshop for images, I'm making YouTube videos, so yeah, you'll advance as you go. But to begin with, you really don't need anything that's all bells and whistles. In fact, there's a few times where I was on vacation at my brother's house and I was using my 7-inch tablet to type out an article in TextBroker. But my point is that you really don't need anything fancy to start writing. Just use whatever you got and upgrade when you can. And in reality, you can get away with using a Chromebook. Those are as basic as you can get and pretty cheap. You can pick one up at like Best Buy or Micro Center for just over $200. So it's something to get you started anyway. Okay, next up is proper education is not mandatory, but learning is. You don't need to have any degree in any kind of linguistic arts, although having a degree is quite helpful in the long run. But to get started as a freelance writer, you really don't need one. I went to college for graphic design and computer animation. My job before I started writing was a network administrator, so I didn't have any background in writing at all. And I scored as a 3-star in TextBroker and went on from there. The difference is, though, even though I didn't have a degree, I did spend a lot of time researching on how to write AP style and trying to fix my comma usage. So in a nutshell, you have to be willing to learn everything you can. And I'm not just talking about writing in general either, like AP style. Also, the more effort you put into writing for search engine optimization, the more chances you'll have of being hired. That's because most of your clients are going to be online. They're going to be looking for writers who can do SEO. Now, I'm not talking about image tags or being able to speed up a website or anything like that. I'm talking about the way that you structure your content is going to be different when you're writing for SEO than just willy-nilly. For one thing, you have to understand how headers work, the best places to put stuff. You don't want to saturate your articles with keywords. There's quite a bit to learn. But it's nothing that you have to like spend the next week and a half trying to learn before you start writing. You can learn as you go. I did. But my ultimate point in this one is that you have to be willing to learn everything you can. Next up is having good customer service skills. One of the reasons why a lot of TextBroker clients like working with me directly is because I'm very easy to work with. I give them what they want and I don't argue. I've seen a lot of writers who won't do certain jobs because either it looks stupid or the client wants something that's saturated with one keyword. What you got to keep in mind is that the client is paying you to write. If they want nothing but one keyword throughout the entire page, that's what you write. Besides, as a ghostwriter on a content mill, it's not like your name is going to it. So you can write how they want. They put their name on it, so you don't have to worry about it. Your reputation is not affected. But being able to relate to a client and make them feel comfortable that they're using your services. Some people call it kissing ass. I call it job security. But at any rate, most clients love working with me because I am very easy to work with and I do exactly what they need. I offer my own opinions here and there on how to word something differently, or if they're using the wrong or improper keyword usage, I'll let them know, but then I will still write it however they want. The hardest part is being able to keep your cool when a client is being a douchebag. Now, as a freelance writer, you're going to come across some of those, and it's not too bad, especially since all of it's online. And then if you do run across a douchey client, just skip them and move on. There's plenty of them out there. You don't have to take abuse from anybody. But on the other hand, you don't have to be abusive back. So find that balance and practice good customer service skills. Next up is constantly research the niche you want to write. Now, I know a lot of freelance writers out there, especially on YouTube or bloggers, will say that you should focus on one niche as a freelance writer. And that's good, because a niche writer will have a far better capability of writing a specific piece of content than someone who's more generalized. For instance, you wouldn't go to Taco Bell thinking you can pick up sushi. In fact, I don't know if you can call Taco Bell Mexican food either. My point is that if you want a specific piece of content, then you got to go to somebody who has more expertise in it. Now, for me, I'm a general writer, which means I can cover just about anything. The difference between me and a lot of other general writers, though, is that I'm very good at research and doing what I do. Which is why I'll get direct orders from clients on TextBroker from just about every single niche there's out there. But it takes a lot of work to get that diverse. But my point is to make sure that you're updated on any new information that's regarding your niche. Because the more updated you are on your information, the better the content. And the more likely the client will keep... The colors keep shifting on my camera. What was I talking about? Not a clue. At any rate, make sure you're up to date on your niche. Next up is to diversify yourself. Now, I'm not talking about diversifying your niche like I do. I'm talking more about not focusing on just one specific way to make money as a freelance writer. Now, I'm a big fan of TextBroker. That's how I made my start. I was able to sustain myself for years on nothing but TextBroker, but I expanded. So don't focus just on one system. If you're into content mills, you can do TextBroker, Writer Access, there's Constant Content. There's all kinds of places you can go to sell your content. And if you want to explore a little bit more on writing for yourself, you can always hit up Medium, Hub Pages, and Vocal Media. My point is that there's so many different ways that a freelance writer can make money online, you shouldn't focus just on one thing. Next up is to be active on social media. Amazingly, I've had clients contact me through Facebook. I am far more active on Twitter, but I try to respond to Facebook messages as often as I can. And one of the biggest things you need to do is be active on LinkedIn. In fact, LinkedIn is how my current client found me in the first place. But you need to do more than just post your blog on social media or have automated postings here and there. It's helpful if you join the conversation because then they can relate a personality to the person they're looking at. The key to social media is being social. And I can attest to how being more social on social media has made a huge impact in my life over the past few months. Even with the whole coronavirus thing going on, I'm still active. I still get clients contacting me through LinkedIn and Facebook. So don't just share a link to your blog, interact with the people that are following you. Because you never know when someone's going to need a freelance writer or if they know somebody who needs a freelance writer. That brings me up to my next point of being able to market yourself well. Now, marketing yourself can go a whole bunch of different ways. You got social media. I have a blog that's specifically to my name. You can do cold emails, which I don't like doing, but it's there. There's a lot of freelancers out there that like the ability to send email to people, a cold email saying, here, I can write this. And as the content marketing team lead for my client, I get those emails a lot. Thing is, I don't have the budget to hire anybody, so oh well. The point is that you have to market yourself as a freelance writer, otherwise no one's going to know you're there. Now, if you're content with using content mills, that's fine. There's a lot of people that make a lot of money on content mills. I did. But if you want to go beyond content mills and make even more money, you have to get your name out there. I've actually seen people use hashtags in Twitter to get work. I mean, there's a whole mess of different ways you can market yourself as a writer. You just gotta be a little bit creative sometimes with it. And lastly, and the most important aspect of being a successful freelance writer is putting in the effort. Now, this is true whether you're getting private clients or you're working for content mills. The more effort you put into anything, the better off it'll be. It's like, I know there's people out there that didn't have a very good experience with Text Broker and they just didn't like how much money they were making, like maybe $4 an hour. I put in the effort to where I averaged about $12 an hour as a 3-star. But I tell you, I put in a hell of a lot of work. It's not that easy. So I know it can be done. It just depends on the amount of effort you want to put into it. Now, Text Broker or content mills might not be your thing. And that's fine. Every freelance writer is going to be different. But no matter what path you decide to take, you've got to put in the effort. Especially when you consider that without effort, you're not getting paid. So there's no vacation time, no sick leave, there's no savings, no retirement. Now, it's probably one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give any new freelance writers is effort. So what are your goals to be a freelance writer? Leave in the comments down below. When I first started, I was just trying to offset the paltry amount of money I was making from the school district. I kind of wanted to go full time, but I wasn't sure if that was going to happen because, well, in the very beginning, it kind of sucked. But after about 1.5 years, I was able to quit the school district, and I've been writing ever since, and that was 2013. Nowadays, I don't do so much writing as it is editing, but if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos covering Text Broker, freelance writing, WordPress, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think that's going to do it for me today from my hotel room. Have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.